Hey y'all, I'm back with another What Sold video. So today we're going to talk through all of my sales for the week of whatever this week is. What week is it? I don't even know. It's Monday, December 11th. So everything over the past 7 days I'm going to talk through. It looks like I made a total of $1,600, $1,659 in gross income, $870 in net income, a total ROI of 706% for the last 7 days, and 48% on net profit margins. And it looks like, so I had 39 new listings for the last 7 days and 41 sales. It's really interesting. Typically what I've found, been doing this for a long time and tracking data for a long time, and I've found that eBay basically gives you what you give it. And so it's very rare that I would list, say, 100 things and only sell 20, or list only 20 things and sell 100. Typically, eBay is going to give back in sales roughly the same amount that you're going to be listing. Now, that's not a rule by any means. It's just how my store works. And I tend to sell across all categories. I think if you sold in one particular niche, you may find that is not the case for you. But for me, I sell across all different categories, and just my own data shows that roughly how many items I list is almost usually right around how many items I'm also going to sell for any given time period. Let's go ahead and dig into the top 10 sales of the week, though. Coming in at number 10 is this Killer Instinct Nintendo Power Strategy Guide. So this is a vintage piece. I got this at a flea market. I paid only $1 for it. I remember I didn't even look it up. I just know that these player guides from the 90s typically do pretty well, and it was only priced at $1. I was very pleased to see once I got it home that it was going for about $40, and that's what I sold it for, $39.99. Took about 4 months to sell, and I ended up netting $30.47 on this one for the 10th best flip of the week. And so, again, video games are a great category, very saturated category though, and so it's usually pretty difficult to find a lot of good video game stuff out there, but it is out there occasionally, and this is one of those things that I found at a flea market. All right, coming in at number 10 is this Logitech G510 wired gaming keyboard. Honestly, you see a lot of keyboards at thrift stores and other places, and very rarely are they worth picking up. But I picked this one up. It's a Logitech, it's a wired one, and I just looked it up because it, looked like it may have some value, but these are all hit or miss. Sometimes they're not worth it at all, sometimes they are. This one did happen to be worth it though. I got it at St. Vincent de Paul. I paid $5.25. It only took 5 days to sell, so it was a very quick sale. I ended up netting $30.92 on this one for the 9th best flip of the week. All right, on to the 8th best flip of the week is this Harley Davidson biker shirt. This is like, I think you would call it like a mechanic's shirt. I got this at a garage sale, looks like over the last summer, so it took 5 months to sell. Actually, did I? No, this one didn't get returned. I thought it did. One of these that looks similar did get returned and resold, but not this one. Anyway, I paid $5 for it at a garage sale. This garage sale, there was like 5 or 6 of these mechanic shirts, and I paid $5 for each one, and they're all pretty good. You can see this one sold for just under $50. That's $39.99 plus $9 or plus $10 in shipping. Ended up netting $32.68 on this one for the 8th best flip of the week. So Harley Davidson's a great brand to look out for, whether it's clothing or whether it's Harley Davidson parts, boots. The boots do really well. Pretty much anything Harley Davidson. If it's relatively cheap, I'll pick it up, and it's usually going to be worth it. Especially with clothes though, give it the sniff test. Make sure it doesn't smell like cigarette smoke. Sometimes the Harley Davidson stuff does end up smelling like cigarette smoke. This one was clean though. Now we're on to number 7, which is this board game, Terror in Meeple City. Had no idea what this was. I thought it looked cool, looked interesting. I was at a garage sale over this past summer, so this one took 6 months to sell. I paid $10 for it. It looks like it sold for $61.43 and ended up netting me $36.64. And this one shipped really cheaply too, only $7, which was great. So it was sold to someone else in my city. So it was actually pretty heavy. This thing, it weighed like 5 or 6 pounds. So I was very lucky that it ended up being a local person that bought it, because I did offer free shipping on it. So Terror in Meeple City, like, board games obviously are very good. Typically my rule on board games is if I recognize it, it probably is not going to be very good. Doesn't work all the time, but for board games that I don't recognize, that's usually a good sign. I'm like, oh, okay, this one is interesting and weird. So this one, I didn't recognize it. It looked like it was sort of a boutique, smaller shop. And it took a while to sell, but sold for $61. All right, on to the 6th best flip of the week is this laser printer cartridge from Canon. So this I just got 3 days ago, very quick sell. I actually got 2 of these. This one is the yellow toner. I got a black toner. You're going to see that here in a second. But this was at St. Vincent de Paul at a thrift store, depending on the thrift store, but typically most thrift stores have carts that they use to put new inventory onto the shelves, and they usually leave those carts in certain areas of the thrift store. And when I go into a thrift store, typically the first place I go is directly to the carts that are sitting there, if they're out, waiting to be put onto the shelves, because that just means it's basically untouched inventory. That's what I happened to do here with these St. Vincent de Paul with these with this toner cartridge here. It was sitting on that shelf. I nabbed it for $5.60, and I just knew that these were going to be good. This one sold for $58.49. It took 3 days to sell. I made $37.17 on it. But there was another one just like it, only it was a black one, and that's coming up next, maybe. Oh, not next. It's coming up here in a second. And so this one is the 5th best flip of the week. This is an American Standard faucet. But I actually bought 2 of these, and they were $20 a piece, so paid up a little bit. And it ended up selling for $87.58, and I got a net return of $43.39 for the 5th best flip of the week. 4th best of the week is what I was talking about before. This one sold for, was this a little bit more, $64.99? Yeah, so this one sold for a little bit more because it was the black one. So $64.99 plus free shipping, and look at that, sold in 3 hours. So very, very quickly. I quickly made $43.89 on the net for that, on the net return. You know, that's just a great pickup right there. Anytime you see any printer cartridges are typically good. You can still sell printer cartridges that have expired. Typically they're going to go for a little bit less. If they're like 10 years expired, I'll usually pass on them. But if they're like a year or 2 expired, I'll generally still pick it up and just, note in the title. That was the 4th best flip of the week. On to the 3rd best flip of the week is this Patagonia puffer jacket. I'm sorry, not a jacket. This one is a vest. So this one sold for $134.99 plus no shipping. It was free shipping, and I ended up netting $61.77. You'll see the ROI on this one is a little bit lower, 121%. This is because I did this in a little bit of retail arbitrage. I typically don't do retail arbitrage. If y'all have seen some of my other videos, you'll know that it makes up a very small percentage of my sourcing, which retail arbitrage, by the way, is when you go to a retail store like Walmart or Target or wherever, and you're buying, discounted goods from there and selling them online. But this Patagonia vest was a retail arbitrage purchase, and so I heard from a friend that a sporting goods store was going out of business and they were basically liquidating everything that they had. So I drove up there and ended up buying quite a few pieces, almost all of Patagonia, and I basically just looked around for all the Patagonia that they had, and it was marked down really well. So this vest was actually one of the more expensive vests that I bought, or pieces that I bought, and so I paid $50 for it, but it took a day to sell, and it sold for $134.99 with free shipping, and so I ended up netting $61 on this one. But I bought a lot. I'll flash a picture up here. I can't remember how many pieces in total. I think I got 15 or 16 pieces. I spent about $600 at the store, and I think there's going to be a few other ones on this list for today. So this ended up being a pretty good pickup. Again, I don't typically go to retail stores to source. I find it sort of boring. I like sort of hunting through junk at thrift stores and garage sales and things like that. But when there's a deal to be had, I'm certainly not going to pass it up. And so I live in St. Louis, and so some of y'all are in St. Louis. This was Dick's Sporting Goods, the outlet store out in Fenton. So they're still open. They still have stuff there. I'm sure there's still deals to be had, although it's pretty picked over at this point. But I picked up a lot of Patagonia stuff. So you'll probably be seeing this Patagonia stuff pop up on these What Sold videos for the next few weeks at least. All right, let's go see what number 2 is here. Yeah, these are Pyrex mixing bowls. And so these are called Primary Colors mixing bowls. I've sold a couple of these sets before, but this one was a little bit different. This one, I noticed on the bottom, they did not have the numbers that you typically see on a Pyrex bowl. And so when I bought them, where did I get them? Yeah, I got them at a garage sale, $3, if you can believe that. So I got this at a garage sale for $3, and but on the bottom, I couldn't see the numbers. Usually it's like Pyrex 2213 or something like that, which is the model or the size. But anyway, these had no numbers, and so I thought, well, this either means that they are maybe fake, or maybe it means that they're special. And so I went ahead and bought it at $3. I figured it was worth the gamble. And it turns out that they didn't start putting numbers on Pyrex bowls until after a certain point. And so this was helping date the bowls. And so these were 1940s. And so this one, I guess the Pyrex logo on the bottom was a little bit different. It was an older one. There was no numbers, and that helped me date it back to the 1940s. Anyway, this one it only took 2 months to sell, so pretty quick. I ended up getting a net return of $75.10. Really good ROI, 2,500% ROI on that, because again, I only had a $3 cost of goods. Shipping really was not too bad, only $12. This is one where I'm really glad that my wife does the shipping, because it's very difficult to have the patience to wrap these things in the way that they need to be wrapped so that they don't get broken. And I'm pretty confident that everything will get there just fine, knock on wood. But she does a great job packing this type of thing. And we've gotten lots of good feedback from buyers who buy stuff like this from us, who are sort of expecting the worst when they order on eBay, something that's fragile, and then we send them something that, is very well packed. And so I know this one should make it there just fine. This was the second best flip of the week, though. It sold for $89.99 plus $15 in shipping. And yeah, ended up netting $75.10. So really cool piece of history here. I don't think I've ever found Pyrex bowls or a set like this old, that didn't have the numbers and had the old back stamp on it. So it's an exciting find. That leaves us with one more, which I believe, it's going to be another Patagonia piece here. So this is a woman's full zip jacket, the nano puffer. These things are extremely popular. The sell-through rate on eBay for them is incredible, super high. And again, I got a bunch of these, and so I should be selling a lot of these over the next several weeks. Paid $65 for it at that same outlet store. The net return ended up being $79.59. The ROI, again, a little bit low because I paid up for them, but I don't mind lower ROIs when it means the net return is higher, right? So I made $80 even though I had to spend $65. Pretty great week in sales. You know what? Let's jump back and see what it was. Yeah, $1,600, and I ended up netting $870 this week. And so Q4 is definitely ramping up. Let's take a look at the fastest selling stuff before I leave you here. So it looks like so that toner sold in 3 hours. I also I bought this Ecobee 4. This is a smart thermostat. This sold today actually. So I paid $20 for this one, and it sold in about 4 hours, and I made $10 on it. So not much of a net return. ROI was low, but hey, if it's going to sell in the same day, might as well, right? It looks like this guy also sold very quickly, about 5 hours. This is a Avon Mr. and Mrs. Claus sugar bowl and creamer set. Didn't make a whole lot of money on it, only $8. But I only had $1.50 into it, so not bad. What else sold? Oh, this one was good. This one sold very quickly too. These little things do so well, and nobody knows to pick them up. I got this in at estate sale. I always see them at estate sales. This one I paid $1 for it, and it sold within 7 hours. And I only made $10 on it, but for things like this, it's going to sell super quickly. It's going to ship very cheaply. I'll buy these all day. So keep an eye out for these little handheld games. They can be worth. They can sell pretty quickly. What else sold fast? This Jingle Bell Rock Santa Dancing. So I made $21 on this guy. It's the right time of year to be picking this one up, but this one sold in under a day, 19 hours. Not all my sales can be good either. Some of these, let's see what I did the worst on. So the least amount of money I made, $1.41 on this Sega Genesis game. Took 22 days to sell. Oh, here's a good one. $2.14. This is an old game from the 90s called Bandu. It's kind of like Jenga, but different, sort of. Anyway, I can't remember why I had this. This is just instruction manuals. It took 6 months to sell, and I only made $2 on it. But actually, for the first time, I used the eBay envelope shipping, whatever that's called. So it only cost 86 cents to ship, so not bad. All right, we're going to end it here. Thank you so much for watching this What Sold video. You'll see me again next Monday doing another What Sold video. But if you missed last week's, you can click this box right here and see what sold last week. So, all right, take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.